Jane to all, welcome back to biology video class. Previous class we have discussed with the population interaction and today we are continuing with that portion. Today we are going to study another three type of population interactions. They are competition, parasitism and commensalism. Competition. Competition is a type of interaction between two organisms for the same food and space where both the partners are negatively affected. There are mainly two types of competition, interspecific competition and intraspecific competition. Interspecific competition means competition between the organisms of same species. We have mentioned about interspecific competition in the previous class. Then what is intraspecific competition? So this is a competition which occurs between two different species. Totally unrelated species also will compete among each other for the same food and space. And for Darwin, he considered this interspecific competition as a potent force in organic evolution. An example for intraspecific competition is South American lake visiting flamingos. That flamingos are competing with the resident fishes in that pond for the same food, that is zooplanktons. So here we can see the competition between a bird and a fish, and this competition is for the same food, that is zooplankton. So this is an example for intraspecific competition. Next comes another type of competition, that is interference competition. Sometimes the resources need not be limiting for competition to occur. So the feeding efficiency of one species might be reduced due to the interfering or inhibitory presence of the other species, even if the resources, that is food and spaces, are abundant. This is called interference competition. So interference competition says that even if the resources are abundant also, due to the interference of one species, the other species may extinct. So here the example which is given for interference competition is abundant tortoise in Galapagos Island. They become extinct within a decade after goats were introduced into that area. And this is due to the great browsing efficiency of the goats. So here competition can be seen in between goat and tortoise. We know that both of them are depending on the same food, grass. And when we are comparing the browsing capacity, the goats have a high browsing capacity. So as a result, what happens? These will consume the food and this may lead to the deficiency of food to tortoise. And as a result, the number of tortoise becomes reduced. So this is called interference competition. Due to the interference of one species, the other species become extincted. That is called interference competition. Next comes competitive release. What is competitive release? It is another evidence of competition in nature. It's a phenomenon in which a species whose distribution is restricted to a narrow geographical area because of the presence of a competitively superior species is found to expand its distributional range dramatically when the competing species is experimentally removed. The example which is given for competitive release is Colonel's elegant field experiment that shows that on the rocky seacoast of Scotland, the larger and competitively superior barnacle Benalus, and that Benalus dominates the intertidal area and exclude the small barnacle Chathamalus from that zone. Next comes Goose's competition exclusion principle. So this principle states that two closely related species, they are competing for the same resources, cannot coexist indefinitely, and the competitively inferior one will be eliminated eventually. and this may hold true in case of limited resources but not in other cases. So this is competition exclusion principle. So when we know that in between the competition, when two organisms are competing between each other, the superior one, who is dominating one, who has more physical strength, he will win and he will survive. And the other species, that is who is physically weak, that he will be eliminated from that zone. So this is simply known as Gauss's competition exclusion principle. So who is competitively superior one, who that person will exist, and the other person will be eventually eliminated from that zone. So this is called a Gauss's competition exclusion principle. Comes resource partitioning. So resource partitioning is a mechanism which is evolved by competing species for their coexistence. So if two species, if they are competing for the same resource, they can coexist by avoiding the competition by choosing different times of feeding or different foraging pattern. Foraging pattern means, suppose some birds, if they are depending on the common food, for example, if they are depending on the same tree, they can choose, some of them can choose the fruits as their food, and some of them are choosing seed as their food, some of them are using nectar as their food. So all of them are depending on the same tree, but they have choose different types of food. So that is called a foraging pattern, or different times for their feeding. So in this way they can avoid the competition, and that is called resource partitioning, and they are coexisting among each other. The example which is given here is, Mark Arthur showed that 5 closely related species of warblers, they are birds, warblers are the birds, they are living on the same tree and they are avoiding competition and they are coexisting due to the behavioral difference in their foraging activity. Foraging activity I have told. So some birds are using fruits as their food, some of them are using seeds, and some of them are using the nectars as their food. So in this different way, in this way they can avoid competition and they can coexist each other in the same tree. So that is called resource partitioning. Then the third type of population interaction is parasitism. Parasitism is a type of interaction where one organism is benefited and the other is harmed. Here, parasite is benefited and host is harmed. Then what are the adaptations shown by parasites? Parasites are showing lots of adaptations. The first one, they lose unnecessary sense organs. Second one, the presence of adhesive organ or suckers to cling on the host. Third one, loss of digestive system. And fourth one, they should show high reproductive capacity. So these are the 4 adaptations shown by parasites. Some parasites require more than one host in order to complete their life cycle. Example, human liver fluke, which is a nematode, and it requires 2 hosts, and the 2 hosts are snail and fish. The other example, malarial parasite, that is Plasmodium. This Plasmodium also required more than one host in order to complete its life cycle. They are mosquito, that's a carrier of Plasmodium, and through mosquito it will enter inside human being. So these are the 2 examples for parasite which requires more than one host in order to complete their life cycle. Next comes another question, how parasites are harmful to host? The parasites will reduces the survival, growth and reproduction of the host, that is a main thing. Second one, it reduces the population intensity of the host. Third one, they make the host vulnerable to predation by making it physically weak. So in these 3 different ways, the parasite will affect the host organism. Next comes types of parasites. Where the parasites are living, it can be divided into two groups. They are ectoparasites and endoparasite. Ectoparasites are the parasites that feed on the external surface of the host of the organism. Example, lice on human, ticks on dog, and copypods on marine fish. These are examples for the parasite. They are living outside the body. That means on the external surface of the host organism. Then endoparasites are what? The parasites that living inside the host body at a different site like kidney, liver, RBC, etc. Example for endoparasites are liver fluke and plasmodium. Cuscuta is a parasitic plant that can be seen on another plant. So this also coming under this category, that is ectoparasite. So give an example for a parasitic plant. There you can write Cuscuta. The parasitic plant Cuscuta also showing some adaptations to live as a parasite. What are the adaptations shown by Cuscuta to live as a parasite? The first one, it has lost its chlorophyll and also leaves in the course of evolution. So when we are observing this particular plant, it doesn't possess leaves as well as chlorophyll, and it derives the nutrition from the host plant. Then comes another important and interesting topic that is coming under parasitism, brood parasitism. Brood parasitism is shown by quail, that is cuckoo. Here the parasitic bird cuckoo lay its egg in the nest of its host where the host is crow and lets the host incubate them. The eggs of this parasitic bird cuckoo have evolved to resemble the host egg in size and color to reduce the chance of the host bird detecting the quail's egg and ejecting them from the nest. Then comes the fourth type of interaction, that is commensalism. Commensalism is a type of population interaction where one organism benefits and the other organism mostly unaffected. Different examples of commensalism are follows. The first one, orchid plant growing on mango tree. Here, orchid is positively benefited and mango tree is unaffected. Here, orchid is getting the space for growing. And mango tree, through this relationship, doesn't getting any positive or negative effect. Another example is barnacle, which is growing on the back of whale. Here, barnacle is getting protection from enemies and can freely move to anywhere with the help of whale. So it is positively benefited. At the same time, whale does not get any benefit through this relationship. Third type of example for commensalism is in between clownfish and sea anemone. Clownfish are living among the tentacles of sea anemone. Sea anemone has stinging tentacles and the clownfish that live among them. The fish get protection from predators which stay away from the stinging tentacles, and the sea anemone does not appear to derive any benefit by hosting the clownfish. Another type of example for commensalism can be seen in between cattle, egret bird and grazing cattle. The egret always forage close to where the cattle are grazing, because the cattle, when they are moving up, stir up and flush out the insects from the vegetation that otherwise might be difficult for the egret to find and catch. These are the four different examples coming under commensalism. So today we have studied three types of interactions. They are competition, parasitism and commensalism. Hope you have understood all these things. Thank you.